Hey, Gun. Yeah. They know what time it is.
I got so much energy.
Gun Decker, you know how we coming, yeah, it's run DFS where we don't just play it, we run it. Whether for the long, couple dawns, a couple of buckets, guaranteed to chat. Check a bag like we carrying luggage round here. Everybody fam, we don't care about the budget round here. You can turn your cash to a couple of hundred round here. No days off, every day we be hustling. Tell them good luck, God bless, go win you some money. Get a pen and a pad and come see where it really take you. Went from 50-50 cash in a hit in the milli maker. Got the updated news and the status on any player. The chalk of the night, do we lock it or do we fade it? They ask me how I'm doing, I tell them I feel it blessed. If you want a slow grind, go place a single bet. Trying to get rich, parlays or boost the odds. Soon you'll be cashing and dancing with the stars. NBA, NFL, the MLB up in VIP. Balling like we want a GPP. 15 minutes to lock and there's a DMP, no sweat. We gon' figure that out and we'll still bing. But remember that it's a marathon and not a race. You gotta put your heart in it no matter how long it takes. 8, 9, 10 next got me sitting in first place. Top value player of the day, let's break the slate.
Super hot fire. Yeah. What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday, hump day. Lots of basketball tonight. So we gotta do a little research, man. I'm hoping you guys are off to a good start to your day, perhaps to your research as well. We do have some news, maybe get some more news, and then hopefully you guys made it out last night. All right, last night could have been better. Definitely could have been better. But shout out to the chat. What's up, Ducking? What's up, J. Cole? What up, everyone hates Chris? Josh in the chat. Gonna be another Warriors value day. Yeah. What up, J. Cole? Jermaine Cole. Mr. Nice Watch. Man, I'm not even like this. That's like my favorite skit of his. This ain't even me, dog. Aiton. Oh my God. Where do we start? Is this a safe space? Can we just for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10, I don't know. We gotta purge yesterday from our system. And where do we begin? DeAndre Ayton's a good start. What are you gonna do? Banged up. The Phoenix Suns scoring under 100 points against the Houston Rockets. What are you gonna do? Chris Paul, he came through, but man, DeAndre Ayton, 14 minutes of basketball, 8.25 fantasy points. Not what you want. Torrey Craig leaned on him for value. McCall Bridges, I was okay with that. Landry Shamet drew the start. Shout out to Chuck. Josh Okogie, 28 fantasy points in 20 minutes. But big hurt on the Ayton side. Then James Harden, kind of a surprise chalk play. He ended up like 35% owned. And I think he was projected for like 15. Like, he wasn't projected to be one of the highest owned players on the slate. 21 real points, 15 assists. We talked about his 40+% assist rate, 7 rebounds. And I had a feeling that when Matisse Thybulle started, there was only 3 guys with any type of usage, right? PJ Tucker, Matisse Thybulle, they don't exist. But I think what tilted me the most about James Harden was 5 steals. 5 steals. I think he had 4 steals in the first quarter. And of course, I was under the field on him. And then because of his big game, and the team's big game, they blew out the Kings by 20. Embiid only goes 30 minutes and has a run-of-the-mill 45 fantasy points. Now what you want. Speaking of blowouts, the Utah Jazz put down the Pelicans by 21. So Zion Williamson, although per minute he was glorious, almost 2 fantasy points per minute, just 26 minutes, 26 real points, 9 boards, 5 assists. Now what you want. I leaned on a couple of these Pelicans for value, such as Larry Nance. Didn't get there. And then if you looked at what actually won last night, I believe a LeBron James and Anthony Davis lineup ended up being what took down the big prize Outside of that, Jason Tatum was your highest scorer on the slate, 44 minutes, 44 real points. Whenever Tatum's the highest scorer, you're not really surprised. You just understand that there is a little bit of vulture potential between him and Jaylen Brown, and an 11K price tag certainly needed to be that guy. So priorities weren't in line with what was optimal for me last night. Jared Vanderbilt, 50 fantasy points out of him, 23 minutes, by the way. It was just a wonky night, right? We all agree? All right. We all got this out? You guys have something? Just let it out right now, because in a couple minutes we're done with it and we're on to tonight, and then hopefully tomorrow. Actually, they're probably not streaming tomorrow, but then hopefully we're done, right? What's up, the Lords? Are we locking up Gafford? We might be. Embiid, Curry, Snowflakes. Not what you wanted. What up, AGZ? Hope you're doing all right. Curry won't play much. I'm thinking he and Dre will sit with Clay. It's possible. Yeah. What up, Conscious? Hope you're doing all right. All right. So I guess if we're done purging, let's move on to today. Yesterday was yesterday, but today is today, though. Shout out to Denny. Stream brought to you by RunDFS.com. That's the place where we don't just play DFS. We run DFS. If you guys ever want to get access to the spreadsheets that I'm going to be utilizing throughout the duration of the stream, it is behind the paywall over there at RunDFS.com. Click VIP memberships. Find something that's right for you. Yesterday, and it's still live today, the Cyber Monday deal, the Black Friday deal. Since I wasn't able to be super active on this channel in the last couple weeks, we repopped that live yesterday. So the code CYBER23, Cyber like Cyber Monday 23, like MJ, like LBJ, whoever you want. Boom, that's gonna get you $100 off next year's year pass, and that's good instantly. So that's also coming with a $150 credit towards Fantasy Cruncher, and then the 24/7 Discord access, which also features pre-lock voice chats. But get whatever is right for you, test it out, see what you like, and then let's get caught up on some news. So let's go to Underdog NBA over on Twitter. Usually every day around 3 p.m. Eastern, they tweet out a what to watch for. And did I miss it? What's up, Dez? How are you? The return of the gun. Man, it's kind of crazy how, like, most of you guys have seen me on Stochastic, but there's, like, some of you guys that don't realize that I'm over there a lot when I'm not here. So it's not like I'm just randomly not on this channel. Usually, if I am not streaming here, it means during that time slot somewhere, I have an obligation over there. But yesterday and today, I was able to not have an obligation. So that's good. They didn't tweet out what to watch for, huh? All right. So if something comes out, we'll get caught up. Oh well. What up, EB? What up, Keith? Let me get your seats wet listening to Keith Gordon. The Suns ate and all of them. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. What can you do? All right. Well, we're gonna pop open the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. I did not open up PrizePicks, right? Let's get PrizePicks open, and we'll get that on the main screen as well. I need a different cup. I don't know. I got this random Cowboys cup. I'm drinking out of a Cowboys coffee mug and a Cowboys cup. This ain't me. That ain't even me though. All right, let's put that on the main screen. This ain't even me. Jermaine Cole. Oh, I love that. I love that one. All right, let's go game one. Golden State Warriors at the Indiana Pacers. Project starting five for the Warriors: Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Anthony Lamb, Draymond Green, Kevin Looney. Taking on Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nembhard, Buddy Hield, Jalen Smith, Miles Turner. Now, it looks like there could be some deviation from this starting lineup. I looked at a couple reference points for a starting lineup for Indiana, and one of them featured Aaron Nesmith as well, like in lieu of Jalen Smith. So don't quote me on this one too much. Let me open up the injury news and notes. What am I drinking? I'm drinking some of that purple stuff. Some purple Kool-Aid, man. I've been caffeining my brains out. I got up at like 6, 7 a.m. today, which also ain't me. But every couple weeks, my sleep cycle gets so jacked up that like for 2 days, I'll randomly sleep at a normal person's time, but then it goes right back to overnights. But during that cycle, man, I get crazy on caffeine. So I'm trying to slow down on the caffeine today. And I already had coffee. So we have Roto World or NBC Sports Edge open. Let's get caught up on some of the Warriors news. So we knew Klay Thompson is out already. Wave browser is no longer. I don't know what Wave browser is. But it's no longer my default. How about them Eagles? The Eagles looking good. They're looking good. Golden State. So let's go to the top. Steph Curry right knee soreness is questionable. He's now being listed as questionable for tonight's game versus the Pacers after banging knees on a drive against Giannis last night. It'll be worth monitoring if he is eventually rolled out, since this is the second game of a back-to-back. We know Klay's already out. Draymond's got a probable tag on him, so we'll see. Usually if they're going to rest Steph, as a... I guess this one could be more precautionary than load management than anything. So, I guess it's worth watching. If Curry does end up not playing, we're going to want all of the Jordan Poole. It might be a talking point to debate whether or not 8K Jordan Poole is worth it, but I'm already getting about a fantasy point projection anyway in the absence of Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins that I'd probably be there, but on FanDuel, 6,700 is just a glorious opportunity, so I'd be there on that. And then if Curry can't go, Draymond might do some more facilitation if this game stays competitive. The Pacers are favored by 2 right now. Had been dealing with a couple games without with Halliburton questionable, but looks like he's going to be a full go here. 234 total. Plenty of implied points to attach ourselves to. The Warriors value circle is going to be, I guess, somewhat frustrating to predict, but it looks like DiVincenzo, Jonathan Kuminga would probably be the front runners for me, right? And there's not really a maybe we could always look at what happens. What's the last game Curry missed? Let's see, Steph Curry rest. I guess we could just look at what game Jonathan Kuminga popped off, right? Dennis Smith's not been starting. Okay, that's a good call out, Steve. What up, Pojen? 40. So I'm gonna guess he didn't play the 7th against Utah. Let's go look at some of that. See what we can't infer. Yeah, he didn't play. All right. So rotations for the Warriors on the 7th, and none of this is gonna be gospel. We know Steve Kerr can get weird with it, but I'm just trying to read the tea leaves here. Jordan Poole, Ty Jerome, Looney, JaMychal, Klay. So interchange Klay and Draymond, I guess, here. Kuminga still got the 29 minutes. So even if it didn't start today, we could probably still lean on him. I never trust JaMychal Green to play extended minutes anyway, but I don't think he would start just because Draymond's probable no matter what. So I guess we would tier it Jordan Poole, Dante DiVincenzo, and this is in the case that Steph Curry was out. DiVincenzo, Draymond, and then Kuminga would probably be, if I had to rank them 1 through 4 and what kind of exposure I want. Yeah, okay. And then let's go get caught up on the Pacers. It's your daughter's birthday, Des. That's beautiful. Is Des short for like Destiny or something? Last time I said it, man, I ain't playing no Kuminga when they were out, and he went crazy. So, Kuminga, I think in this matchup, it's hard to get away from any value that might see 25 plus minutes against the Pacers just because of the matchup. Because the Pacers run such a fast pace, sloppy defense. and offer a lot of peripherals opportunities. So I'd be more comfortable here. I definitely can empathize with you on how frustrating it is to play Kuminga historically, because he can get in foul trouble and whatnot if the pace ain't right. But man, the Pacers have just been a glorious matchup. So I would lean more towards the trust in Kuminga here into 25 plus minutes of action. Looking at the Pacers, so let's see if we can get to the bottom of this projected lineup. So Nembhard, Nesmith. So yeah, okay. So we'll put Nesmith here in the starting lineup, and then we'll put Jalen Smith here. And I guess since the Warriors are kind of by default playing small anyway, I'm fine with that. Halliburton's still the guy that I would probably want the most of. I do think he's appropriately priced, but 50 plus fantasy points, still a reasonable range of outcomes. 58, 44, 59 in the last couple games. So I think it's possible. So he would make the player pool for me. Miles Turner's a little bit intriguing. Not something I'm going to go to the ends of the earth to get at 7K, but I do think 40 plus is there. And then Hield and Mathurin, just kind of the same play to me. Probably going to need 20 plus real points for them to make an impact on a slate like this. So if they make the back end of a player pool, diversify 150. Cool. If not, oh well. A lot of interest in this game is going to be hinging on Curry status. Please, Jesus, deliver me from DFS. Jesus! Oh no, that's not good. Hey man, if you need help, there's some phone numbers to call. Just ask your DraftKings rep. They'll probably lock your account, but it'll be there. So DiVincenzo as well, right? Oh my God, Des, don't do it. Don't do it to him. There's anything on this game on the board for PrizePicks? I feel like the Warriors might not be available. They're not. And then the Pacers. Little Nembhard, no. What about Halliburton assists? That's like my favorite prop ever. 10 assists. Yeah, I just continue to ride that. So let's make a little list here. Tyrese Halliburton over 10 assists. I think 10 is still a pretty decent chop opportunity. So I'd be there on that. What else we got down here? Everything else is pretty run-of-the-mill. All right. We'll wait for the Curry news. Next game, Hawks at the Magic. Project starting 5 for the Hawks. Trae Young, Trent Forrest, AJ Griffin, DeAndre Hunter, Clint Capella taking on Markelle Fultz, Franz Wagner, Paulo Banchero, Arrow, Bobo, and Mo Wagner. 225 is our total 2.5 point spread in favor of the visiting Atlanta Hawks. Hawks and Trae Young. Certainly another big piece of news. Man, what's up with this? Curry now and then Trae Young. These are two 9-10K high usage point guards that would certainly make a big ripple effect, especially for value. We saw what happened last game with Trae Young missing lower back tightness. He ended up missing Monday's game against Memphis after playing in an overtime game on Sunday. Apparently, the back tightness is still lingering, so there's a chance that he misses Wednesday's game. If that's the case, Trent Forrest should get another start at point guard with Aaron Holiday off the bench. Holiday put up 15 points. Yep, I remember that because Holiday, for some reason, was projecting so well for me, and I went more Trent. Trent Forrest is 4,500 here. Holiday is 4,300. So both guys would kind of make the player pool for me. But the Orlando Magic's one of those matchups that their defense is so dog water, but their pace is so neutral to poor, right? Bottom 6 in pace. So it's kind of it's hard to pick on them with a lot of confidence. But I think this 2.5 point spread makes me feel a little bit better. If Trae did play, I think it's a massive spot for him without DeJounte, and maybe we get one of those spots where the field is just kind of sitting on Trae Young news to perhaps play one of the value guards, and then when he's in, they're more skittish or they're not mentally bracing to play Trae Young. But I think that could be a mistake. I think Trae Young has a real chance at being one of the top scorers on the slate. What was Trae Young's ownership earlier? Oh my God, it is fractional of. It's just fractional. So this season, Trae Young without DeJounte. Actually, let's take off John Collins as well. All right. Trae has a 42.7% usage rate in the absence of DeJounte and John Collins. That's ridiculous. 47% assist rate. So, yeah, I would say if Trae Young is ready to go, I think we play him. Let's see. Trae. Do we have props for Trae? No search results found. All right, cool. I guess that's because he's not active yet. I would imagine it's kind of like last night. Remember we talked about Harden having a 40+% assist rate. If Trae Young has a number at 10 or less, I'd be in there on the over for that. So yeah, hopefully that news comes out sooner than later. 7 o'clock is part of the first round of games that we're waiting on, so we should have that news ready to make a decision. And now let's look at what happens in the absence of these boys. This is the last couple games. We'll look at. Put Trent Forrest on. What's up, Rob? Is Bogdanovich in? He's the second best player in the floor. Yeah. Looks like he's ready to go. I got 32 minutes on him. Got a 30 fantasy point projection. Looks really good on DraftKings. Fine on FanDuel. Of course, if we miss out on Trae Young, that's going to shoot up even more. So taking off DeJounte, John Collins, Trae Young, just straight up. Not many minutes to go off of, but it is all we have. AJ Griffin has a 31% usage rate. Is that a thing? Last game, 12 shots with double-digit shot attempts for him in the last 3 games. And then that was a game that got away, right? So was AJ Griffin a guy that lost out on the fourth quarter? Yes, all of the fourth quarter closed out with some who's who of who's that. So, Griffin, who played 24 minutes in regulation, if that game plays closer to a 2-point spread, he probably gets to 30 minutes. So, that's something that I would keep in my pool there. It's appropriate price. And then click Capella. I think Capella is one of those guys I would prefer with Trae in than out, just because he's the type of guy that kind of needs someone to make his shot more often than not. He's such a in the paint scorer that I prefer when Trae Young is lobbing for him. So I'd be looking out for that. Did Capella? I wonder if there's a sample of Capella on the court this season without a DeJounte or John Collins in terms of shot creation. I guess Bogdan. Maybe I'm underrating Bogdan being able to create a couple shots for him. 0 minutes of Capella without one of, let's take Collins off, one of the premier assist heavy point guards for the Hawks. Not much. Yeah, not much. What up, ACP? What up, Ant? Here. I had no clue our playoffs was 2 weeks each. Yeah. And it leaves out the final week. I think that was a chronic doing. Any good on PrizePicks? Josh, we're going game by game here. I didn't really, because of the lack of information for the Warriors game, there was nothing really that stood out. But I guess what I grabbed from the first game is a Halliburton assist over 10. It was at 10, right? It feels like a push is possible. So I'll still take some of the safety. And then we don't have Trae Young news here, so that's not up yet. So the Magic side, we got no Wendell Carter, Gary Harris, Jonathan Isaac, Chuma Okeke, and Jalen Suggs. So that guard rotation is a little bit more isolated between Fultz, Cole Anthony, Terrence Ross for DFS. I'm not that enthralled with any of them, but I do still kind of have a hunch that Markelle Fultz might be a little bit undervalued by the field. Here, we'll look at the last couple of games rotationally. In that Raptors game, he got into big-time foul trouble, 5 fouls. So he probably misses out on some second quarter run. What did he have, 2 or 3 in the first? He had 2 fouls in the first quarter, right? One foul in the first quarter. I'm tripping. And then 2 fouls in the second quarter. So he goes 3 fouls before half. They take him out. And then he picks up another 2 fouls. So he probably misses out on some minutes here. So basically what I'm getting at is I think Fultz, a lot of systems, including mine, we got him at about 25 minutes. But I really think there's a chance Markelle Fultz is like a 30-plus minute player if he can stay out of foul trouble. So on that hunch, I'm gonna have some extra, or I'm gonna have Fultz basically, right? I think it's easy to have none of the guards here, but I do think a 30-minute range of outcome is possible, and if that's the case, I think he could be well above a point per minute if he can stay out of foul trouble. So I will get to some Fultz. Everyone else, I'm not really gonna a massive projection here. Boncaro under 8K. Just getting to 40 fantasy points ish. I'm fine with some of that, but no warm and fuzzies through and through. Draymond sold you? Oh no. Yo, ACP, who do you play me this week? I got kind of mopped last week in the 150. I got like a 30-point deficit to overcome. It's not great. It's not what you want. Who do you play? Let me pull it up. Sorry, chat. We did the drafts on this channel. We ran 2 season-long teams. So if anybody's out there that are in it, can't play Fultz ever again. Yeah. No, I get it, and I don't think Fultz is somebody that you have to get to, but I still think there's a range of outcomes that Fultz can sneak into a 40 fantasy point game at that price point, because I do think we might be undervaluing or underprojecting his minutes in a competitive game. Yo, ACP, what's your team name? We play the same team again? Yeah. No, I know I was running it back, but I have like a 36-point deficit. So this is looking like raps for the old gun show. Unless you're talking about the $50. Oh, you play Corey? Is that in the $50 one? I barely slid in there on the $50 one. Winner's bracket. Okay. All right. Well, good luck, ACP. If I can pull off a miracle, I'll see you in the finals. It's in SF we trust. Now I'm kind of curious to see what you're running with. Dude, I have amongst like the fewest transactions on the season, and I'm out here. Y'all were talking all that smack. Oh, you only got 11-point lead going into week 2. Could the young... I'm trying to think. Who's Corey to us? Corey... Oh, no. My man's got Tyler Huntley. Oh, my God. Look at this line. This is like a DFS lineup, bro. It's going to be close, though. It's going to be close. Good luck. Good luck. Hopefully we'll meet up in the finals, though. Hopefully. All right, Hornets hosting the Pistons. Project starting 5 for the Pistons. Killian Hayes, Jay Ivey, Bojan Bogdanovic, Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren. Taking on LaMelo Ball, maybe. Terry Rozier, Jalen McDaniels, PJ Washington, Mason Plumlee. So the LaMelo Ball name came out today after, 11 games off. Now he is officially questionable. And this is what happened last time. He never went to probable. He was just questionable instead of out, and then he played. He's been upgraded to questionable for his game against Detroit. So if he can go, this is a potentially 30-minute guy of the most usage on the team. And I don't think that I would have the stones really to get to him at a high level of confidence, because I wouldn't really know what to put on his projection. But it does kind of take the top off perhaps of the AK price tag on Terry Rozier, where we start diluting his projection. The same with Kelly Oubre, right? I didn't even put Kelly Oubre on the bench here. Hello. There we go. So I could be pretty low exposed to the Hornets if Ball is in. If Ball is out, I've been picking on the Pistons all year at the point guard position, they've been sneakily one of the most fruitful spots for opposing point guards in the sense of DVP. So it sucks that AK LaMelo, I don't know if they came out with some definitive context to what kind of minutes he might play, but we're not going to get there, right? Coaches are just like, yeah, we'll monitor his minutes. He'll play 5-minute stints and then he'll play 35 minutes, right? So no warm fuzzies through and through, but I might get to a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Bojan Bogdanovic is probably going to be the most interesting piece for me in this game. And then Bojan's one of those guys that kind of lean on a lot over on PrizePicks, because I do expect him to consistently lead the team in shot volume and, points scored. 12 3-point attempts against the Lakers, 22 shot attempts. If he gets to a 30-minute threshold, and this game has a 4-point spread, so there's a good chance he gets to something like 30-plus minutes, expect him to be one of the primary scorers. So anytime the line is at like 18.5, 17.5, something like that, I love them. And they have a line at 19.5. That's still close enough for me to take some action on. But 27.5 fantasy points is also something I can get behind. I have him about 32 fantasy points in terms of PrizePicks scoring. So might get there on that, but I'll also get to him in like tier 3 levels on in my DFS lineups as well. And that's pretty much it. I could see myself not being overly exposed to this game. It'd be a lot of tier 3 tertiary exposure levels, Hornets are a big over when he's in. He's so awful versus the point guard as well. Yeah. Defensively, yeah. Man, this front court's an annoying. Really, the whole Pistons rotation is kind of annoying. Can't really sink your teeth into much at these prices without somebody being out. So it's pretty much a filler game, right? We'll get some pieces in the back end of optimization, but nothing coring. So that was the last game on the 7 p.m. stretch of games. So all your decision making, and I think, thankfully, we've been dealing with some slates with a lot of news that isn't part of the first set of games, but the Steph Curry and Trae Young stuff being right there, that we'll probably have that information with enough time to adjust before lock. That's a good thing. So thank you, DFS powers that be. But at the 7:30 block, Knicks at the Bulls. Project 35 for the Knicks. Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson taking on Alex Caruso, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic. 225 total, 4-point spread in favor of the home team Knicks. So the Bulls analysis is usually pretty cut and simple. For me, I'll put all three of these guys in a pool. I'll likely cap it to where Optimizer never gives me more than 2 of the 3. I think at these prices, I'm okay with a little bit of coexistence because it's not all 8, 9K big 3. And I don't expect to have to wrestle with too much of that, but I'm getting about a 40 fantasy point projection for each of the big 3 on the Bulls, and that's fine if their prices respectively. With DeRozan, somebody at that price point, I probably want a little bit more meat on the bone, and that's how I play that. I don't really get to other Bulls here at a high level of exposure or confidence. On the Knicks side, Brunson has a GTD tag on him. Let's see what we can do with that. Brunson's dealing with a right foot contusion. Injured his foot during Sunday's win over the Kings as Davion Mitchell landed on it during the second half. Should he not be available Wednesday night, this would impact the entire Knicks rotation. Emmanuel Quickley, Miles McBride, or I'm coming home, Derrick Rose? Could Tom Thibodeau? No. We can't do this. We're not doing this. We might do it. So we'll keep an eye on the Jalen Brunson news. What does that mean for the Knicks generally, though? I guess based on who's in there, Here, what up, Corey? Let's pull up Chicago. Chat, if it came out at 6:55 that Jalen Brunson is out and Derrick Rose is starting in Chicago, just be honest with yourself. Be me. What are you doing? Is Young C in the chat? All right, let's put Big 3 on for the Knicks, not the Bulls. Bro, didn't I not just skip this song? Come on. There we go. Let's put Brunson, Barrett, and Randall on. Just kind of see what a absence of Brunson might mean here, Usage is at pretty split, right? Everyone's kind of at 25%, but Brunson's at 31% on the assist rate. So a little facilitation responsibilities. I clicked the wrong name. Let's put Barrett back in there. And then let's take Brunson off. See what that does. See what it might do. Will we get more ball handling from Barrett possibly? Julius Randle spikes up to 31%. Assist rate pretty level with Emmanuel quickly getting to 32%. So if they throw us Emmanuel quickly, maybe. Sure, Dion has Rose in his line. Dion's kind of a prop better now. A lot of people have transitioned. The mathematical likely guy would probably be Emmanuel quickly, right? But just because there is kind of a narrative there with the coach and D Rose, could be fun. Quickly's priced at a spot where it doesn't feel like it's a super smash must play, but could see a path to success there. I guess what's also pretty intriguing is this 31% usage rate on Randall. But more minutes. There's not much to go off of here. 1.5 fantasy points per minute. Probably unsustainable, but just something to lean us in a direction if and when that news comes, Grimes signed if Brunson's out, yeah. But again, Grimes, 5K, I don't feel like I'm getting a smash value must play, but it makes the blender for me. So we'll see. We'll see who they throw out. I think it's a pretty simple approach. And then RJ Barrett at 7K. I like him better at 6K, right? But I would get to Julius Randle probably pretty decently on FanDuel at 8,200. I think that's a good enough spot. Nah, I was gonna look something up, but I guess it doesn't really pertain to Julius Randle. I was seeing the 5.8 blocks per game allowed. Not really big impact for Randle though. All right, Kings at the Raptors. Next game on the docket. Again, part of the 7:30 space. So only 2 games at the 7:30 block. Projects 25 for the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, and Domantas Sabonis taking on Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, Christian Coloco. 232.5 total. 5-point spread in favor of the home team. Toronto Raptors, Kings. Night 2 of a back-to-back. Another kind of run-of-the-mill, nothing screaming at me type of game here. I will, no Porter, no Anunoby, no Achua. I mean, all this is the expectation. I guess Siakam is somebody that I shouldn't just write off. He's a guy that has a ceiling worth getting some exposure to. 62, 53, 49, 58 in 4 of his last 5 games. And these are also paced down to neutral pace spots. The Boston Celtics, Orlando Magic. They played a lot of Orlando Magic. So in a spot against a team like the Kings that is better offensively, one of the top offensive ratings, while also having one of the worst defensive ratings, and while having some absences in that starting lineup, could be a sneaky spot for Siakam. If Siakam will land at single digits, I'd probably make it a point to stay him there at a maybe 5%. Looks like he came in at like 12%. So, that's appropriate. I probably won't be at the field on that, but I would still be at Siakam. I don't feel like I have to go crazy to split hairs. I'm getting a really good projection. In context to the slate, Siakam came in as a top 5 projected guy for me. So yeah, the humanistic side of me is sleeping on Siakam, but the numbers are not, and thank God for the numbers. Van Vliet's getting about a 40 fantasy point projection. I'm fine with that. Scotty Barnes, same. Big minutes here for the Raptors. And that was something that we can lean on from last year as well, especially when you take out a guy like Anunoby, who was Mr. Minutes, 41 minutes, 43 minutes, 42 minutes, 37 minutes, all in regulation. That's just a lot of minutes against one of the worst defenses in basketball. So I would say probably no one's off limits, and I would probably set a rule to cap at 3 Raptors in a lineup. 7 dueling 7K Van Vliets and Barnes. Probably wouldn't. It would probably get to. I think it would be the Van Vliet Barnes button heads here, but I could see a Van Vliet Trent Siakam or Trent Barnes Siakam, and feel like I'm not at jeopardy. Also getting a decent projection back on Boucher, and Boucher is always a volatile minute projection for the Raptors. He offered 27 minutes. Them closing with Boucher is perhaps something that we can lean on. That might have just been a Magic thing. Let me go to the other Magic game, because the Magic have a lot of bigs. Boucher, yeah, Boucher. That was a. Do we think Boucher closing is correlated to no Anunoby? And not necessarily for a DFS dart, but perhaps for a for PrizePicks, right? Koloko not closing games is pretty consistent. No fourth quarter for Koloko, essentially anywhere. So on PrizePicks, when they do first half, second half props, maybe a guy like Boucher second half, if that comes up, would be worth taking, you know? Just because it does look like Boucher will benefit from Koloko not closing games, and then kind of opens the door for Boucher to play more minutes in the second half than the first half. So maybe keep that in our back pocket for some live PrizePicks bets. Yeah. Let's get caught up on chat. What's up, White Nose here? I told you about DiVincenzo yesterday. Yeah, he was a good play. Filling him again today. No Clay. Okay. Got a name for you today. I don't know if you see some minutes. Stanley Johnson. Man, I didn't play Stanley Johnson when he was playing 40 minutes for the Pistons, bro. But maybe he plays with a little bit more spunk to try and win some minutes, I guess. James Harden yesterday. James Harden was huge. He ended up being chalked, though. That was kind of a curveball to me. What does Van Vliet look like for you, Gun? I'm getting 40 fantasy points on the projection. I think just the opportunity for all of the Raptors. Defensively, the Sacramento Kings are, I guess they're more neutral than I thought. I thought they were a bottom 5 defense. 112.8 points per 100 possessions. You know what that is? That's coded for like the last 2 years of points allowed, and like this year 112 points per 100 possessions isn't the worst in the league. So I might have to readjust the color coding. But the fact that the Kings are good offensively, one of the best offenses when they're all together and Fox is running, enough incentive for the Raptors to have to play keep up. Yeah, Sacramento grades as a top 8 offense. And if it's going to be a competitive game, Raptors are live to play 40 minutes apiece. So I think sub 8K Van Vliet makes a lot of sense. Let's see, Toronto. Will Hernan Gomez affect Boucher's minutes? If he plays? That's a good call. Let me see what the status is on him. He's probable? That could be a really good call. Let's see. When's the last time he played? The 3rd, the 2nd, the 30th. So I guess this wouldn't be a fair look back because those games probably involve Anunoby. But we'll go look. Did you guys see that movie with Adam Sandler, by the way? you know, I thought it was an enthralling subject, but I felt like it finished flat for me, for my liking. I don't know, I was hoping for more. So the 30th, right? I guess what we would look for is how much overlap between Hernangomez and Boucher. We get Boucher, a little bit of overlap there, not much, a little bit. They played together fourth quarter, but that was a game. Oh, Siakam played. But Scotty didn't play the fourth in that game. So it looks like Juancho was playing a lot of immediate. Not a lot of immediate, but a lot of minutes opposite Scotty Barnes, right? A little bit of overlap, but a lot of minutes opposite Scotty Barnes. And Boucher's still a guy that we probably just expect to play backup center. Unless they stretch out Siakam. Juancho here was playing. Maybe I'm wrong. Siakam, I don't know. There might be a ripple effect between Hernangomez and Boucher's second half value. Something to watch. Hopefully he's out, but he's not. He's probable. What's up, Paul? Hope you're doing all right. I'm thinking of only playing the Timberwolves Clippers showdown tonight. Got any tips when you get to that game? Yeah, remind me when we get there, and we'll look at it. First lineup had Fred VanVleet, too cheap, and we saw what Harden did to Fox. I like that. A lot of what Harden did was also 5 steals, and then also 2 of the starters were PJ Tucker and Matisse Thybulle. So I wouldn't use Harden as like a benchmark, but I think VanVleet's fine just because of the minutes. Before I move on to this game, I do want to look at. Let's put all the Raptors on. This is actually one of the rare starting lineups where we could just put them all on and the results are stable. Let's go Scotty. Scotty don't. And then we'll take off Drummond and Derek Jones Jr. Oh boy. Oh no. Anunoby. What am I doing? Was Bam 32 points and rebounds? What do I have for Bam? I have Bam basically 32. 20 points, 12 rebounds. So yeah, it's basically 32. Slightly on the over, but basically. Hey. Yo, Bags alert, Bags 48 alert. Appreciate that sub, my dude. Back to that on-off court tool. So 50 minutes of VanVleet, Siakam, Barnes, Anunoby this season. VanVleet's only about a 0.8 fantasy point per minute with a sub 17% usage. Kind of the same for Barnes. It's Siakam that's doing it. But the fact that he's playing 40 minutes, you kind of get there. Let's put a little bit more sample to this, though, because I do think 50 minutes is not very fair. But I think Siakam's role this year certainly expanded from what we saw last year. Since the beginning of last year, VanVleet's at 0.94 with Siakam still leading the team in usage. So I'm with that. Siakam leads the podium. Fox around 8K. I'm looking for 40 plus. Sabonis exists as well. We were worried about Sabonis foul trouble yesterday, and then they got in the wrong side of the scoreboard. Now we're dealing with a little bit of a back-to-back, and it's game 3 in 4 nights. So certainly enough pushback here against Sabonis, against Siakam, to feel like $9,600 is not going to get us a massive gain. And I don't think I would find myself prioritizing him too much, you know. Been a rough week for me. It'd be like that. You go. I think Barton and Morris snapped tonight. Barton actually played well last game. Yeah, he did. You can play Roby, but then you have to play guys like... I think that sentence is backwards, Paul. You can play Luka, but then you got to play guys like Roby. So the top 4 plays are Leonard, Bogey, Gafford, Bassey. We now have to mix and match the other 4 2 guards. Yeah, that's fair. All right, I think I'm caught up. If Diop is also out, I'll play Roby. Yeah, I agree with that. What up, Chester? Here. Hope you're doing all right. Blazers at the Spurs. Project 35 for the Blazers. Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons, Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant, Yusef Nurkic taking on Trae Young, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sochin, Charles Bassey. We got Collins out, Langford out, Pirtle out, Wesley out, and then Nas Little. You can hate me now. Gary Payton out. Josh Hart and Drew Eubanks. Tags on them. Josh Hart probably the more interesting one for our projections tonight. He is... Drew Eubanks is probable. Josh Hart is probable. So we'll go ahead and just make him probable. And that leaves us with the Blazers against one of the worst defenses in all of basketball. Ranking... are they worse? Are they number 1? Yeah, number 1. Tops in defensive efficiency in the bad way. So, plus matchup for everyone on the Blazers. Blazers are road 7.5 point favorites. Dame Lillard, depending on the Trae Young and Steph Curry news, could be the only 9+ K-ish guy in the guard conversation. But because of Simon's I don't know. See, Dame still has it though. 38, 36, 40 points in his last 3 games, including one where he only played 29 minutes. Dame still has that range of outcomes. So I think the question on what we do with Dame was probably going to be more of an ownership reactionary decision. Right now, he's coming in at very low owned. So I'm going to keep him in my back pocket. And if we get Trae Young and Steph Curry news to shake out, I don't necessarily think that that's going to create a rush to Dame, because that's going to create more value guards anyway, and that just might make Damian Lillard a little bit more lucrative for the contrarian mind. So I think if Dame stays at single-digit ownership on this slate against literally the worst defense, not having to give up a ton of equity would be a good thing for a guy that could drop 30. Do we have PrizePicks on Dame Dollar 26.5? That's fun. Yeah. Okay. That's about the bulk of my interest. I guess you could get me to a little bit of Nurkic, but I'm not that enthralled. Same with Jeremy Grant. Now that we have a couple games of sample size of Jeremy Grant with Dame, that was going to be one of the more intriguing developments for me, because to begin the season, Jeremy Grant's shot volume was like 15 or less, right? A lot of 12, stuff like that. And then when Damian Lillard went down, we saw a big stretch of Jeremy Grant, 18, 23, 24 shot attempts, big-time performances. But now that Dame's back, 15, 13, 12. So let's run the official numbers on that. And it's obviously not to say there won't be games where we should avoid or can't play Jeremy Grant because of Lillard. But this is research that we should be cognitive of. So Jeremy Grant with Lillard this season. Has a 21% usage rate, 0.8 fantasy point per minute, almost 0.9. So 21% usage, 0.8. Then we take Lillard off the court. And Grant goes to almost a 30% usage rate, and peaks over 1. So there is certainly a palpable effect of Lillard on to Lillard off for Jeremy Grant. Maybe this will allow Jeremy Grant's price to go down, and then we get a Lillard out game sooner or later. On the Spurs side, solid projection through and through for just about everybody. You can talk me on some tier 3 exposure to Trey Jones. Devin Vassell, no warm and fuzzies there, but wouldn't stun me. And then you guys have mentioned Bassey in the front court, and Isaiah Roby makes sense with no Collins, no Pirtle. Sure. Let me see what the ownership on these value guys are. Bassey is top 3 in ownership right now on DraftKings. At 4,100. I guess, what would he have to put up? And it's not like yesterday, so about a 1 in 4 owned for Bassey at 4,100, center only. I'm getting a busted projection, and say what you want about Nurkic. The matchup has been pretty solid for opposing centers. Portland's bottom 5 in fantasy points allowed, so I guess it comes down to a minute projection for Bassey. 20, 18, 21, 20. Doesn't look like we're leaving the 20 minute mark much. Man, it feels like a glass ceiling of minutes, right? You just know he's not going to leave the 20-minute threshold, and he's going to be one of the top 3 owned players on the slate. Just feels like there's enough that can go wrong in 20 minutes to not want to be there. Something to think about. Maybe he does get past that 20-minute mark, but I don't know. I'm definitely over projecting him based on what I just looked at. So you guys mentioned Roby. And Roby? Hey man, Josh has a 6 to 7 Eastern, 5. Yeah. All right. So, Chad, looks like I'm going to be on live before lock tonight as well. Just got an emergency text. All right, cool. So, we'll finish this out. Play Zhang. You like Zhang, Chuck? All right, let's get to the bottom of the Spurs big rotation, all right? Does the Collins absence make us able to move the needle on Bassey's minute projection? Right? I just hate that it feels like he can't play more than that. Maybe I'm... I don't know. Zhang, though. Yeah, Gorgie Zhang. Could we realistically see Isaiah Roby, Bassey, and Zhang all just play 22 minutes apiece? I think that's possible. I feel like we could just be trapping ourselves. Anyway. Like Sunshine, if it's not a minutes restriction. 4K is a good enough price point to attack. Yep. Alright, let me get caught up on chat. Ayton and Campaign killed me last night. How'd you get on Campaign? I'm not making fun of you. I'm just curious how you got there. Or was that like a turbo slate? Because he wasn't starting. Like I think we kind of talked about, like, without Devin Booker, you would think that there was a chance that he would play more minutes, but it didn't happen the game before. So I have to get better with my ownership and going 90 to 100% on 2 minutes. Yo, Ego, how many lineups are you running? I would say if you're running 20 or less lineups, like if you're starting to build a process for multi-mass entry or mass multi-entry, whatever, you still, in 20 lineups, at least my approach, I still want a core, right? I'm still going to live and die by a select group of players. I do think we're running into a situation very frequently right now in DFS where so many players are 40 to 50% owned, and they make a lot of sense. So we've seen this 2 or 3, what was it, Friday or Saturday with the Nets? Like the historical context of ownership versus the field it's not the same every night right now. So hopefully we start getting some more normalized slates in terms of 40% meaning something. But I do think we can put an asterisk next to a lot of these slates in the last week, because some of these slates have really felt like last day of the season stuff. Yeah. What's up, Savage? Hope you're doing all right. There was no Booker. He played well as minutes before his injury. So we had looked at that from the game prior, and I don't want to get too far off because this isn't a attack, but like I thought that there was yesterday we thought that there was a chance that Cameron Payne could benefit in the absence of Booker, and he didn't. There wasn't like an immediate boost to his minutes. He was just more of a Chris Paul backup. And yeah, I don't want to get too sidetracked. Looking at a 21-minute projection for Zhang would be sneaky pivot off of base. Oh man, what are we expecting? I feel like we can give them all 21, 22 minutes. Roby, Zhang, and Bassi. And then at that point, I mean, I guess the cheapest would be Zhang at bare bones 3K. I don't know, man. I just feel like there's something I don't love there. Is fantasy comparable to poker? It's very comparable to poker. Ranges of outcome, understanding ranges of outcomes and percentages of somebody being a good play is a great comparison. I think you'll see a lot of the OG professional DFS players have a poker background. My boy Shamit, yeah, he was clutch. I gotta give Chuck Shamit, man. Chuck dropped Shamit's name in chat like 5 times yesterday. I was like, man, if you got that feeling in your bad knee, and then we were in the voice chat and we saw Shamit in the starting lineup, I was like, of course. Yo, Trey Prince, man, appreciate that sub. Hope you're doing all right today. On 2-minute projections for Spurs players. Pop plays DF. Come on now. All right, we gotta move it. We gotta move it along. Miami Heat at the Oklahoma City Thunder. Projects 35 for the Heat. Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Caleb Martin, Max Strus, Bam Adebayo taking on SGA. Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, and Alexei Pokusevsky. 2-2-3 is our total 2.5 point spread in favor of the visiting Miami Heat. What up, Moose? Who are your top 2 guys for tonight, given their projections? I mean, just going on for projections where we still don't have Curry and definitive Trae Young. Jokic, Luka, shocker. Siakam's sneaking up there, and now Bam Adebayo is on. He's outside looking in. He's outside in the snow while I'm in here with my lineups eating a steak. He wanted to be part of it. So let's talk about that. Jimmy Butler's out tonight. Gabe Vincent's out. Yurtseven's out. Rest of the team GTD. I refuse to keep typing the entire Heat roster up on the GTD. So what we do know is Jimmy G Buckets is out. So Adebayo on, Butler off. I'm also going to put Lowry in. With Adebayo on the court, Lowry, I guess we should put Hero on as well. Adebayo leads the team in usage? Is that real? Tyler Hero second. 1.2 DraftKings fantasy points per minute. And the model has Adebayo like top 7 right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6th in projection. The matchup being the Thunder. It's only 2.5 point spread. The Thunder just batted every position defensively. And if we look at our team metrics chart in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, the Oklahoma City Thunder allow the 4th most points in the paint per game. Steals per game allowed. Thunder not that high. What about blocks per game allowed? Thunder is top 5 in blocks per game. We know SGA likes to drive to the rack. And we know Bam Adebayo, almost a block per game, still per game. 8,300 for Adebayo, eh? What's his ownership? He's up there. He's 1-5 right now. So no secret. Getting a really good projection for Kyle Lowry, 6,500 on DraftKings. We go back to that query. Lowry's at 0.9 fantasy points per minute. 15 per, the usage is on the floor, but he stuffs the stat sheet enough that I think a sub 7K price point for Lowry. I still want a piece of. I probably will stagger amongst the three. And Lowry's somebody I would have the least of just based on his usage. But Hero and Adebayo are two guys I would probably get to a decent chunk of. On the Thunder side, SGA needs that 50 plus at that price point. Certainly somebody that will be one of the perennial slate leaders in real points scored, but the price point is accurate. So even like last game with 42 real points, still just 54 fantasy points. So he's not doing much else. So I think the price is uber efficient, and I don't even know how much meat's left on the bone at this point. So unless you have like just expendable salary, I feel like there's always going to be a pivot at that, if nothing else, that price. And obviously the position's live to be scarce with some news soon, but the salary is a lot. And then yeah, I guess that's it on that. Lowry scares me. Yeah, Lowry's never consistent. Especially if he starts being trendy. How do you decide to play the bench player that has opportunity to start due to injury? Well, you don't. So you mean like? So if you think a guy could start, so like yesterday, if you played Cameron Payne thinking he could start with Devin Booker, even though we had some information, let's take a minute. I hope everyone doesn't mind, because I it's more important for me that we get some of these process questions done, because you're gonna have the next 4 hours to keep up with research. So for instance, 2 games ago, wait, did they not? They don't have yesterday's. Oh wait, did I? I'm on page 2. Okay. I would say first off, we should have never thought that Cameron Payne was going to start anyway, because he didn't start the game prior without Devin Booker. In that game, Dario Saric did. And yesterday we speculated that since Saric did not close that game, they closed with Damian Lee, that there could be a change. And there was. It wasn't Damian Lee. They started Landry Shamet instead. And then, yeah, but a lot of the information that we got from that Pelicans game, which was competitive, we saw Cameron Payne didn't get a boost in minutes. If anything, he got less minutes than usual. So I was never there on Cameron Payne, but if you thought that he could start today, and I don't think you're wrong for thinking that that's a possibility, you have to be around to affirm that decision, to affirm that guess when the lineups come out. I don't really think there's a nicer way to say that. If you are playing some guys on hunches and can't be around when the lineups are confirmed, then you might be wasting money. So if that's what you were talking about, but just like today, as each game, each set of games starts coming, lineups come out usually 30 minutes before the game tips off. You just got to be active. You really can't grind NBA DFS and not be able to react to the news, especially these days. These days, it's ridiculous. You get Tyus Jones at 40% when he's rolled out after first game locks. You know what I'm saying? Adebayo 29. Yeah, Adebayo is not a secret. I was hoping to be a little sneakier. All right, hopefully that addressed some questions. If not, always tweet at me, bro. My DMs are open, and if I don't reply on Twitter, sometimes I get lost in the tons of stuff. You can message me on one of the Discords. Is 50% cash enough, or should I go more? I don't want to answer that because I don't play cash. What up, CT here? especially with Curry out. That hasn't dropped yet, right? Let's not speak in absolutes and give Gunn a heart attack. Turner didn't play last Warriors game, so it would definitely take away some usage from Hill, and that's fair. Got Poole, Hero, Bogdanovich, Avija, Barton for guard mid-range value. What you think? I think all those make a lot of sense. Poole and Bogdanovich make the most sense. I don't know that I would consider Tyler Hero mid-range value, but I guess it's like right at the upper echelon of mid-range. Barton makes sense as well. Anything we need to cover on the Thunder? The Thunder are just SGA Giddy. Cool. Next. Thank you. Next. All right, 9 p.m. Eastern. Cavs at the Mavs. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Lamar Stevens, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen taking on Luka Doncic, Spencer Dinwiddie, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, and Dwight Powell. Got a 216 total, 2.5 point spread. A 216 total in the year of our Lord 2022 is like a 200 total 3 years ago. This is gonna be a slow one. There's still going to be some concentrated and isolated spots for usage, but man, 95.8, like the slowest two teams in basketball going at it. Both teams above average defensively. The Cavs, I think, are second best in defensive efficiency. Mavs are slightly below average, which is kind of surprising. So ultimately, what I'm saying is going to be hard to get uber giddy about this game. And there's a real chance that when I open up Fantasy Cruncher and start setting some caps, I could see myself capping one player from each team, right? Usually I'll cap 3 a team as just like a default, and then as I tweak, some teams I'll get to 2 because I don't usually expect the projection to disagree anyway. But I could see myself capping this game at 1 player per team in lineups tonight. And then obviously it goes without saying, if on Cavs side, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, 2 guys I would lean on the most in that cap, but no warm and fuzzies. Luka Doncic is going to be one of the raw point projection leaders. He is second to Jokic right now, so I'm not going to sway too far away from that. Where he falls. And as one of the most expensive guys on the slate, get him. Oh, Jesus, he's very low owned, so you don't have to give up much equity to just have access to him at like 5 or 6%. But he needs to deliver at that price point. So I think that's the approach here. Cap at 1, let the projection kind of fall where it falls. There's only like 4 candidates from this game I want access to anyway. Watch the game go in OT. It might still hit the under. Nesmith for value. Man, we're about to push on 200 viewers and just 41 likes. Come on, chat, be great. Can we get to like 80? That would be pretty cool. I started losing money when I started playing cash. I've been doing pretty well in low stakes tourneys this year. Man, I haven't played a cash game in years. When I first started playing, I was one of the 80-20 dweebs where NBA DFS literally used to be so easy because news was an edge. Now news is like it's so it's you're not gonna miss much if you follow Underdog or if you follow Stochastic, if you're in Discords that everyone tags. But back in the day, if someone, like, I don't know, just as an example, the other day John Morant got officially rolled out after the slate had locked, and Tyus Jones still made it to like 40% owned. Like, that would have probably been more of like a 10% play when I first got into it. So there was a lot more edge in cash. So now the edge is just kind of projecting ownerships, playing against the ownerships, running the your ranges of outcomes. So like Stochastic has a really good tool called the boom bust tool, and based on simulations, this is how often this player booms in this spot, and then you can run that or the bust in this spot, can compare that to like the ownership projection, and that's really how you can start designating players as over-owned, under-owned, stuff like that. So really the edge right now is ownership, playing ownership. And in a way, it's always been that way, but you didn't necessarily need to be that giga brain back in the day. All you had to do was essentially play players that were active and then take advantage of the news, and that's where more edge was. So when the news edge started eroding, I stopped playing cash games because cash games, the lineups are so similar that I don't know, it was less than a coin flip to cash most nights. So I moved all of my action to GPPs 4 years ago, and I'm fine with that. So if you find that your P&Ls aren't really where you want them to be, maybe consider being more of a tournament player, because if your P&Ls are low and you're a cash game grinder, that probably means the chalk is not as consistent as it is, because you're probably playing a lot of chalk, and it's hard to think with a cash game mindset while also serving a contrarian mindset, because then your batch of lineups are kind of counterintuitive, I don't know. I hope this rambling makes sense to y'all. With good fantasy scores on the last game of the slate, how do you go about building a lineup knowing someone from the late game is in the top? So we call that the late night hammer, which mathematically I wouldn't make that a thing, but I'm going to be honest, if I'm playing single entry and I'm making a lineup, I'm probably looking for somebody in the late night to keep me climbing, but I wouldn't necessarily think it's a mathematical suggestion. Back in the day, all the West Coast games used to be shootouts, so you could just trust it, but I wouldn't add it to the process. Had better success at GPPs and double ups. Honestly, so on DraftKings, you can view double ups and stuff and tournaments. The double up cash line is very often not far from like the $15 cash line. That's why I stopped. When cash lines were the same as a tournament as it is, in 50-50s or double ups, and sometimes higher, what's the point? Right? It used to be that a 30-point difference between the GPP cash line and the 50-50 cash line made it worth playing, because then I could focus on floor more. But it's really not. I'm losing time. All right, Wizards at the Nuggets. Project starting five for the Wizards: Monte Morris, Corey Kispert, Denny Avdija, Kyle Kuzma, Daniel Gafford taking on Jamal Murray, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Bruce Brown, Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. A 2-2-2 and another 1-2 is our total. 11.5 points spread in favor of the home team, Denver Nuggets. The Wizards without Bradley Beal, Kristaps Porzingis, Rui Hachimura, and they're going to roll out Kyle Kuzma and the Sunshine Gang, and they're going to hope to keep this one competitive. One of the larger spreads on the slate here, so maybe 9K Kyle Kuzma as a 11.5 point road dog doesn't feel great. 8,300, I could probably still justify it. Usage-wise, he should be that guy, pal, right? And maybe he falls through the cracks because of the field not loving to play Kyle Kuzma. About 10%. I think that's fair. Washington. You're better off getting to play unique and cash. You might have a better chance of winning. I'm going to take down a double up. And then, like Timmy, once you start doing that, well, then heck, you might as well be playing tournaments. That's why I moved to all tournaments, man. But like, I don't necessarily feel like you have to do what I do, but I think there's a lot of people. I think NFL is like the last of the cash game grind that my circle is still doing, because NBA is just quasi solved, I guess you could say. The ownerships are just nuts, right? If you're getting 40-50% owned guys in GPPs, imagine what those guys are in tournaments, and then your lineup becomes a 2v2, maybe even a 1v1. Porzingis, Beal. It's fun talking strategy with you guys. Here, what up, Mike? Kuzma, 32% usage rate this season without Porzingis and Bradley Beal. Almost a 1.2 fantasy point per minute. Yeah, so if this game stays close, likely means Kyle Kuzma is hustling. Monte Morris revenge game. I can get behind that. Solid 6x return right now on him. Denny, I tell you what, man, I haven't been that high on Denny at the 4,500 range, and I've just been kind of lukewarm on him, and I feel like I've been pretty much wrong. You can tell me that I'm wrong? So with Denny right now in this play, 0.6 fantasy points per minute. What if I just put Denny on and just in general? I feel like his price is appropriate. 0.8. I guess 0.8 is a little bit more of a, but at that price point, I think for me it just might be some Kuzma, some Morris, and then obviously this front court. So the value is a little bit easier to get to, even if it's volatile. If it's a big, like we're discussing the the Spurs front court, because there's got to be somebody out there and they're going to catch rebounds. I think Daniel Gafford at 3,800 on DraftKings, really hard to get away from. And then I'm not super excited about anybody else in that front court. So Gafford at 3,800, probably a core value for me. And then you get some Will Barton, some Monte Morris, maybe a little extra pep in their step because of the revenge circumstances. So I'm fine with that. And then Jokic leading the slate and Rob fantasy point projection for me right now. I'm gonna potentially be some value if we lose the Curry, the Trae Youngs of the slate, and then maybe even more value, just opens up by happenstance. So certainly we'll prioritize a guy like Jokic. I think something that might make Jokic, let's see, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I'm gonna get to any of the Spurs centers with a high level of confidence. But I'm fine with playing Gafford. And Gafford center only. Is Bassey center only. So maybe like this de facto chalk value pushes a guy like Jokic even lower than he should be, and maybe the double-digit point spread also serves a purpose. I think Jokic at 5% right now. There's a couple studs that are coming in single-digit ownership, like a Jokic, like Damian Lillard, like Luka. I like nights like that. So we'll see. I think the Spurs front court is going to be so annoying when it's all said and done. Danny came back to earth last game, yeah. Well, it happened because Will Barton, Jordan Goodwin, guys like that were popping. Definitely worried about Gafford foul trouble for sure, but I still think he's going to exhaust his 28-30 minute allotment as long, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if he's in foul trouble, at what point you just go out there and eat those minutes anyway. Let's look at the rotation for Washington real quick. So in that last game, that was, let's see, Goodwin started. Goodwin played 35 minutes. And that was because Monte Morris was straight up DNP. But because of the grind, okay, that's what it was. DNP is kind of misleading because I guess he was active, but he was out. I would like one of those two to be out. So I can't see a scenario where I'd want Barton, Goodwin, and Morris in the same lineup. So there's probably a good chance I only want one of those three. So I might set that rule on Fantasy Cruncher. Kuzma I'll let ride, and then Gafford I'll let ride. Is Gafford power forward eligible? No, he's center only. So in a one center site, at least out of Bion Siakam are forward eligible. In a one center site, maybe the value centers make Jokic lucrative, contrarian ownership wise, right? I love low end Dame. That's the best kind of Dame. All right, one game left on the docket. Take a pause for the cause. After this, I'm gonna spend about an hour in the RunDFS.com voice chat in the Discord. So if you guys want to be part of that, go to RunDFS.com. RJ Hampton has been assigned to the G League per his request. Well, good for him. Magic. Go to RunDFS.com. Cook yourself a VIP membership. Remember Cyber23 on the 2023 Year Pass that comes with $150 credits for Fantasy Cruncher is live. We activated that yesterday. It's the Black Friday Cyber Monday deal, but I've been kind of dry on streams on this channel. So that $600 pass for next year goes down to $500 when you put in the code Cyber23. So if you want that, go take advantage of that. We'll probably shut that down tonight. And then, yeah, if you want a week pass or whatever, get in there for a week pass. We got NFL coverage this weekend as well. Main event tonight, Timberwolves at the Los Angeles Clippers. Project starting 5 for the T-Wolves. D'Angelo Russell crossing over with Anthony Edwards. Jaden McDaniels, Kyle Anderson's got tickets to the game. How'd they get tickets? Rudy Gobert taking on Reggie Jackson, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, and Ivica Zubac. 2.5 total, 6.5 point spread in favor of the home team, LA Clippers. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi Leonard at 7K-ish. Now that we've kind of got this minutes revelation that he can go 30 minutes. We saw him go 30, 29, 28 in his last 3 games. Makes him more intriguing. I still think the price is enough to where I kind of cut it off at the knees and he just wobbles around in lineups. But I understand it. A couple of you guys have come to me with lineups today with Kawhi Leonard in it. And that's one of those, if you get that feeling in your bad knee, go for it. I won't talk you down. Paul George at 9K-ish on both sides. He's exercised a bigger ceiling in a couple of his last games. 65, 52 fantasy points. 2 of his last 3 games in Boston. A little tougher on defense. I think tonight against Minnesota, I think he'll be fine. So I will say though, at the $9,500 price range, I still think Paul George is too volatile to be away, like to be too confident in. So this would still be a ownership based decision for me, and he's at 11%. So we've talked about in context of what that means for the rest of the slate. Like Jokic was at single digits. Damian Lillard was at single digits. Heck, even if like Trae Young played, he was at single digits. So I do wonder if I trust Paul George at double-digit ownership, but at least it's not like 20%. So maybe I'm overthinking it. And you guys have, we've kind of discussed the late night hammer funness, but I think the more median outcome is like a 40 to 50, and that's fine, I guess, but nothing that excites me if it's going to pick up steam. On the T-Wolf side, Anthony Edwards right there at that Paul George price point, and in the absence of Karl Anthony Towns, his usage has been pretty stable. He's at 1%, like a tenth of the ownership of Paul George. Let's put some stank on that. Kawhi is back. He's back. Anthony Edwards, no cat. And then we've, you guys have mentioned D-Russ. Yeah, D-Russ has a Q tag on him too. So let's look up the question mark on D-Russ. D-Russ. Questionable with left knee contusion. We got a lot of point guards questionable tonight. Russell suffered the injury during Monday's loss to the Trailblazers, but he still played 30 minutes. If he cannot play Wednesday night, the T-Wolves would be in a tough spot, as Jordan McLaughlin has already been ruled out. Jalen Noel and Austin Rivers are most likely candidates. We're playing Austin Rivers revenge. Anybody? All right, so just straight up Edwards without Towns. A 1.2 fantasy point per minute on both FanDuel and DraftKings, a 28.7% usage rate. Take off Russ. See what happens. Now this would be news we certainly don't get in time for lock, and would have to adjust to it. His usage rate goes to 32%. So no matter what, it looks like he's a pretty stable play, and the fact that he's a tenth of Paul George's ownership certainly makes me a little bit more spry to like use him instead of George. So I guess if I had some Paul George lineups that were just kind of lurking up there, and I knew Paul George was still kind of holding a little bit of ownership, I might pivot that to Ant Edwards. But 6.5 point spread. And it is what it is. So keep it close enough. If we knew like right now that Noel and Rivers were starting, I'd probably trust Noel a little bit more on a per minute fantasy point production. But we're getting cheap tags on Rivers as well. So if we push to Rivers, I would want Jalen Noel. And then it would just be the Ant Edwards show. I don't like that I like that. Jackson plays D too good versus point guards, Noel. Jackson plays D too good for PGs for Noel. Reggie Jackson? Is that... I've never thought of Reggie Jackson as a solid defender. Let's see, Clippers 48. What's Reggie's defensive efficiency? Reggie Jackson defensive rating this season. Yeah, I wouldn't overthink it anyway. 114.3. That's not great. I think that's like probably pretty average for this season. So what's a good defensive? I don't know. Let's Luka. Let's just compare that to Luka. Luka has a better defensive rating than Reggie Jackson. So I wouldn't let Reggie Jackson defense in 25 to 28 minutes scare me off of a $4,500 guard. Right? All right. So where's my index portal at? What the heck? There it is. How did I get way over there? All right, chat. I ran a little bit long today, but like I said, I will be back on the YouTube airwaves in like an hour-ish. I'll be on live before lock. I don't know who the co-host is. It's just kind of a last-minute thing. But in the next hour, I'm going to be in the Discord voice chat. So we'll do that. You guys got anything else before I get out of here? Brook Lopez, best defender in the NBA. Yeah, he's been a block-centric guy. The Bucks, though, are also like the best defense in the NBA, so it just kind of works together, right? You guys got anything? Any questions, comments, concerns? I do need to get out of here. Twitter.com/Gundecker, though, if you got anything else for me. I definitely appreciate you guys spending some of your time for some of my time. Tomorrow, I think we have more stochastic appearances, so we probably don't do a stream here tomorrow. And it's usually a small slate anyway on Thursdays. We'll see what Wednesday's looking like, right? There's Noel a lock if Russ is out. I think you would want to see Noel in the starting lineup, right? There's still an out for Austin Rivers or Bryn Forbes. But I think I would feel the best about if you gave all three of those guys 25 minutes, I think Noel's the guy I want to be the guy. You know what I mean? His D rating's 105. All right, man. I appreciate you guys. We're going to close you out again with the Young C theme song. So if you guys want to jam to that on the way out, that's cool, man. Otherwise, I definitely appreciate you guys making part of my day be part of your day as always. Tell somebody you love them. I love you. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money, why don't you? Maybe we won't close it with this file. Huh. We couldn't open the media file. Oh well. Make sure you hit that thumbs up on the way out. Would ya? That'd be great. Young C. There it is. Such a good song. There it is. All right, love you guys. Later.
Hey, Gun. Yeah. They know what time it is.
I got so much energy.
Gun Decker, you know how we coming, yeah, it's run DFS where we don't just play it, we run it, whether for the long, couple dawns, a couple of buckets, guaranteed to chat, check her back like we carrying luggage round here. Everybody fam, we don't care about the budget round here. You can turn your cash to a couple of hundred round here. No days off, every day we be hustling, tell them good luck, God bless, go win you some money. Get a pen and a pad and come see where it really take you. Went from 50-50 cash in a hit in the milli maker. Got the updated news and the status on any player. The chalk of the night, do we lock it or do we fade it? They ask me how I'm doing, I tell them I feel it blessed. If you want a slow grind, go place a single bet. Trying to get rich, parlays or boost the odds. Soon you'll be cashing and dancing with the stars. NBA, NFL, the MLB up in VIP, balling like we want a GPP. 15 minutes to lock, and there's a DMP, no sweat. We gon' figure that out and we'll still bing. But remember that it's a marathon and not a race. You gotta put your heart in it no matter how long it takes. 8, 9, 10 next got me sitting in first place. Top value player of the day, let's break the slate.